you transitioning out of G2, how did this all go down? Considering you were such a staple point and you had a fantastic year, I think in 2022 as well.
I think that back in the day, I think I treated I think the way so basically I was like big team captain in G2 in 2022, and it was like my team and Capsa's team, because it was like the time where we said we need to change at least Reki, I guess, right? Like me and Caps really wanted to we didn't think we could work with like us and him. And G2 also wanted to change Wunder and Mickey. That wasn't like through us back then. And we ended up with like BB, which was fucking insane. And we ended up with like Flacked and Targa, which were really, really good upcoming prospects that are still in there and still can perform well. And I think that the way I was within the team, I felt I was like a really big leader of the team. But I think the way I acted at the MSI and Worlds was like a little bit of a bitch, I would say. Like I think at MSI, we had a lot of issues because we would get like in scrims normally in Europe we would like stomp everybody, but then on MSI we would get like ass handled by T1. And I remember like going to Worlds that year, and I remember like on jet lag with not working PCs, we got like silver accounts from Riot back then for some reason. We had not even a day to practice, and we instantly played T1 and we got destroyed. And we played even like the draft we played in the finals of LEC, but that was like the Orn, Jarvan, some stuff like that would work in Europe, but then it wouldn't work against T1. And then we still like were doing decent at like the early MSI, but I think I think basically throughout the MSI I didn't play enough solo queue, which resulted in like my poorer performance in semis that I feel like I could play much better. I think I didn't play enough solo queue back then. And for Worlds, I felt like, basically, I felt like we had a lot of cheeses prepared, and we didn't put a lot of time in like the non-cheese strats of practicing at Worlds. And then when the cheese was basically Seraphine to Yuumi, right? Like that's something we played, and then some other champions that we like tried. And then when that didn't work out, I felt like a bit depressed. I was like very down for one day. And then I think that the energy I was supposed to have compared to energy I gave within the team at the last 3 or 4 days before the second part of group stage was really low. Because I wouldn't say I'm like a super emotional person, but I do have times in my life where I feel down and I need someone to bring me back up. And I feel like during that time, even though it's like very bad time to be down, I was kind of down after like losing to these Asian teams. So I probably needed someone to bring me back up, and I'm not sure if the team tried or not, because I don't exactly remember how it all panned out during like the day-to-day basis. But in the end, we played and we lost, and we went home. And I think I also had like a pretty big fight with Targamas, and I didn't really fight with Targa before. But the way I think that like the roster was, I remember talking to like a lot of players individually, and I remember talking to my manager. And the things I was being told is I felt like I need to act. And the things that I heard from Targa, the things I heard from Romain about me, the things I knew about the team that are not spoken, these things are not spoken out loud. I feel like there was a lot of burden on myself. And I didn't have anyone to talk to about this because I feel like it's my burden to carry. And I think that kind of just like, it's something I wasn't aware of, but that really brought me down in a lot of moments. And I think it happened both during MSI and during Worlds, because the pressure was way higher, the competition was way harder, and I just couldn't deal with like both the pressure within the team, but like to also be insane and to like destroy everyone when you're getting fucked in scrims, right? So I think that because of the way I acted at both MSI and Worlds, and it's not something that like MSI was basically, I think I didn't play enough solo queue, and Worlds, I think I was down for like 3 or 4 days. And I think these, in my opinion, were like the biggest reasons why G2 decided to move on and try to look for a different jungler. And I honestly think that's just justifiable completely. Even though I heard that I'm irreplaceable during the season, and like, what will we do if you want to leave? Oh my God, you have to stay in the team. That's what I heard, by the way. I'm not sure. It was from like people within the team that were not players. So I thought I'm fucking safe. Well, I wasn't, and I got kicked. And then when I got kicked, I was fine with that, and I understood, and I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I apparently also heard that Caps doesn't want to play with me anymore, and that also makes sense because, you know, I did not behave the best at these 2 international events, and me and Caps also go like very long time together, so it makes sense that both of us will move on and play with different people. I don't know how much is it true about the Caps not wanting to play with me or not. Like, I didn't actually directly ever ask him because I didn't really mind, because if he doesn't, it's fine. If he does, it's fine. I don't care, right? But I was a bit contract jailed, so I couldn't really leave to any team I wanted. It was a buyout, and the buyout was very high. It was, I think, above 1 million at first, and then it went down to like maybe like 50K. I'm not sure, but when it went down to 50K, that was like already the time where not many teams needed a jungler, and that's kind of how I still decided to play in Team Heretics, because I could just be on the bench in G2. That's what I actually planned on doing back in the day, like 2 years ago. I was planning to be on the bench because my contract was like, I think 50% salary, and I think 50% in salary on the bench in G2 back then, from 2022 and 3, would be like really high. The 50% I would still get, but still really good salary. So I mean, it would be lower than what I got in Heretics, but it would be higher than like probably whatever I'm gonna get this year is gonna be like lower than like what would I have 50% of G2 that year, right? So I was intending on stay on the bench, but then it seemed to me like Heretics is trying to be like a competitive roster, and they were trying to get a lot of rookies, and they were trying to like get Abby from Japan, which was always at Worlds, and they tried to get like Ruby, which was low-key a rookie, and Mersa did pretty decent in LEC, and Jack Spectra, who was upcoming like rookie from ERL, so I felt like the team can actually fight well. And also that was the year where they changed the system in LEC, so I thought I can't miss it. I thought like I absolutely need to be part of it because this is gonna be insane, and I really want to compete.
So you wanted the best of one. So it brings us back. So you wanted to play in the best of ones 3 days a week. Like he actually just wanted this, so he brought it upon himself.
Okay, back then I really wanted that because I thought it's gonna be more games. I thought for like the best team, it's better, you know, because you will have like more games and blah blah blah. And obviously, I still like the fact that there's more games. I just wish that more games would happen in less days. That's all right. Like I still like this system than the system we had before 2023, but just make it 2 instead of 3 days for each team to play, and that's completely fine with me, right? Like I'm okay with that. And the finals maybe like three instead of 4. Like that would be great, you know. Like three like finals, not 4 finals. I think 4 finals just kills the hype because every final feels meaningless in the studio, you know. But yeah, I don't know if I said too much or not, because I shared a lot of stuff that I maybe didn't share before, which is great for the viewers of you guys.
Perfect.
That being said, that was like all of that happened more than 2 years ago. So I hope it's fine, and I hope no team will like hate me for what I said, because like I said, like for example, if I could work with G2 again, I would be fucking down, you know. If like right now Romain would come to me, maybe like, hey, you want to sign with G2? I'll be like, bro, like just give me the paper, I'm gonna sign right now. I wouldn't even care for the salary match because it's the best team in Europe. I want to play there, you know what I mean? So like I think other teams can get there, and I think they can get there with my help or other players' help. Is just the way I think I view 2022. I had a lot to think about after it happened, and I think I grew from it a lot, and I think I learned a lot about myself, and that was great. And I tried to imply some of these lessons to Heretics, and I also had to change a lot of who I was, because in G2 I was used to being very straightforward and telling people you're fucking boosted. That's something we did in G2 to each other. I couldn't do that in Heretics anymore because people have very fragile ego. So I couldn't say that anymore, right? Because people would break if I would say that. So there's you know, every team is different, and you have to learn to work with it, and it's great. And also being a competitor is something I dreamed about, and it's just great. And I loved my life the way it was, and I really hope I can keep still competing because it's fire, it's great. But yeah, we will see what happens. And
I'm very sorry, but
I love playing it. Sorry, I love playing it. Just to put it, I like playing in Heretics, and I think they were good to me. And I love playing in G2. And as much as there were sometimes some issues with the contract, I understand it's business, and this is the way it is, and it would be probably the same in every other team. And I remember all of my teammates great, and you know, we had these conversations about Reckless. Yes, we did not fit very well, me and him, as players, but he's a great person, and same goes to a lot of other teammates I had. You know, not always you can work together. Some have different views of the game or different views of things, and it is what it is, you know. But yeah, that is my end of my yapping, I think.